Hi everyone, it's Marian. Welcome to the start of my health and wellness journey with GLP-1s. In this video, I'm going to share with you my health history, why I decided to start this journey and why it took me so long, and what are the first steps that I took to be able to start my GLP-1 journey. When it comes to my health history, I am considered overweight pretty much my entire life. I was called fat when I was a kid, but honestly, looking back, I was a lot smaller and probably not really considered fat or overweight. But now it's, of course, undeniable. I'm a lot heavier than I was in my younger years, but I'm still at the same height. So my BMI is like really, really high. And even though BMI is not the best indicator of health, but there's no denying that I am not only overweight, but in the obese category. This is what I am starting with in my weight loss and wellness journey, GLP-1 journey, however we want to call it. I am currently 206 pounds and my height is 5'2". So as you can see, it is not a good height to weight ratio, even if you don't know my BMI. And I carry a lot of my weight in my belly, and this is the part that I really want to get rid of. But even though I'm overweight, I had never really had major health issues, which is why I thought I was one of those people who are overweight but healthy otherwise. But of course, now I realize that is completely wrong. At least in my case, I know there are big people out there that are super healthy, super strong, and have no major health issues or any health issues at all. But I'm saying just for me, I thought that was in my case, but it is not. I've tried dieting almost my entire life, tried to lose weight, but there are two occasions that I probably did it seriously or I was semi-successful. The first time I did it was back in 2012 during grad school. I went to see my primary care doctor and she prescribed me medication, and this is before GLP-1. She prescribed me something, I forgot the name of it, but it helped curb my appetite. So for the 6 months that I took it, I did lose a lot of weight, probably 20 to 30 pounds, but the side effects of that is high blood pressure. And I also had to get off it because I was picked to be a bone marrow donor, and I just don't think it's healthy for me to be on those medications while I'm going through the donation process. So I did stop that, and of course I gained back the weight. And fast forward a few years later, and I can't remember if this is pre-COVID or just after COVID, I also attempted to lose weight using Weight Watchers. It was springtime. I was just like, you know what? I am going to lose weight. So I think I saw a Weight Watchers ad or something for first 3 months is free. So I signed up for it, and following the Weight Watchers program, I did lose 30 pounds in those first 3 months, which is actually pretty fast. But then I hit a kind of like a stagnation and a plateau. And after the free trial ended, I didn't resubscribe to it. And I also experiencing a lot of hair loss. So I kind of stopped the extreme diet that I was on. And of course, during the first attempt, all the weight eventually came back, and dare I say, a little bit more. And then fast forward to now. So why start now? First, I am getting older. I am in my early 40s, and I can't be this overweight and not have major health issues. High blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes run in my family. So it's not going to be a surprise if I also have those issues. And I also started not feeling my best. I always have headaches. I am lethargic. And sometimes when I overeat, I don't feel good. I feel queasy, nauseous. Although I never really got sick, but there are days that I just have to lie down in bed because I don't feel well. My headache is really bad and I feel so nauseous. So I just stay in bed all day. Back then, I just attributed it to a lot of things. Like it is flu season. It's just, I woke up the wrong way or something like that, or I slept a bad way. I never really attributed all the symptoms to something that's related to my health issues. And one time I went out to eat with my family just 2 or 3 weeks ago to a buffet, and I got violently sick at the end of it. I was throwing up in the bathroom of the restaurant. And it took me also 3 days to come back from it. And so that's kind of for me, what is the tipping point that I was like, you know what, I got to do something about this. And second is the news of GLP-1 medication become more affordable, and Wegovy coming into pill form instead of just injections. And it's also just more affordable than doing the injections. So all of those things combined kind of made me decide this is the time to do it. Hopefully this time, third time's a charm, and I'll be more successful than my 2 previous attempts at losing weight. And also this time, I think it's just, I can't avoid it anymore. And it's also more than just about weight loss. This is more specifically about my health. So all those things compounded made me realize that I really need to start on this journey. And at this point, I really have no choice but to do it. And the reason why it took me so long, even after previous attempts, is again, I didn't experience any major health issues, or so I thought, or at least nothing that sent me to the hospital. The most that I've been to urgent care is for ear infection and allergies in the past few years. I didn't even get COVID during the height of COVID. And as mentioned, whenever I experience symptoms, I attribute it to other things, like it's my sinus acting up, it's allergy season, and all of that. And third major reason is, of course, the cost of healthcare in America. It is not easy to go see a doctor, especially without insurance. At the same time, there are things that are available to us now that weren't before. But now that I began this journey, I'm kind of like kicking myself and regretting that I didn't start sooner. But now that I'm here, I'm ready, I'm willing. It's better late than never. So I'm glad that I'm starting it now. So aside from coming to terms and making the big decision to start to do this, there's also some things that I have to do to convince myself that I have to do this and do this now. So the first steps that I took to start this health and wellness journey with GLP-1s is one, to do my research. So now that it is widely available and a lot more accessible, there's so many third-party companies offering GLP-1s. And you can see it on Instagram. I've been inundated with ads about it from different companies. But looking at these different GLP-1 providers, they are not all the same. Some of them actually don't offer you Wegovy. They just put you on medication like metformin and medication like for seizures, but the side effects of those medication is weight loss. So you just have to be wary about if you're going to access GLP-1 medication, or you thought you're accessing GLP-1 medication through just third-party apps, just read the fine print and just look at what medication they're actually offering you. It might be medication that you don't want to take or it's not right for you. Also, some of them would say, oh, it's only like $69 a month, $39 a month. A lot of those is actually plus the cost of medication, and you have to pay everything up front. So you'll have to pay like 6 months ahead, 10 months ahead, 1 year ahead. But what if the medication don't work well for you, or you didn't like their program? So how are you going to get that money back? Is the refund process easy, or is there even a way to actually get a refund? What if it's like no refund, no exchange, or whatever? But the process for most of this is they make you do a quiz online to see if you're qualified for it. And they say they're going to connect you to a healthcare provider, like a telehealth, to kind of like go over your answers in the quiz, your health history, and prescribe you the medication. But even before you get to that point, they already say, oh, you're qualified for it by answering just like a few questions online, which I don't think it's right. And then before you get to the part to talk to a healthcare provider to make sure you're actually qualified for it, you have to pay already. You have to subscribe already. So that's one thing I don't like about it. And for me, since I haven't seen a primary care doctor in so long, and I also haven't done my blood work in so long, I decided to do that first, like do my due diligence, check out my health first before subscribing or going through the third parties to get access to GLP-1s. I want to make sure that I am actually eligible for it and it's not going to mess up my health even more if I get on it. And I want to make sure I get on the correct one with the correct dosage. So first thing that I wanted to do is to get my lab work and then see a primary care doctor first. So I was actually talking to a friend of mine who's a doctor, and she was the one who gave me an idea on how to go about this. So she was the one who made me aware that you can get your blood work on demand now. A doctor don't have to order it before you can get one. And again, kind of like with the GLP-1s, there are many third parties that are trying to offer it. I just went directly to the two companies that are doing those lab work anyways, which this third party is going to send your lab work to, which is Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp. And if you go on their website, they have a section where you can do lab on demand. So you could purchase it yourself out of pocket and do it that way. So between LabCorp and Quest Diagnostics, I went with Quest Diagnostics just because of what they're offering, more comprehensive for a lot cheaper cost. I think the price difference was like almost $100. The one that I picked is the Elite Health Profile. They have two other tiers that are lower than that one. Like one is kind of like the basic blood test, and the second is like for the comprehensive women's health. And I just did the Elite package because, like I said, I haven't seen my primary care doctor in a long time. Therefore, I haven't had my blood work done in a long time. So I want to make sure everything is tested, checked out, not just like the regular stuff, but also for my like hormone levels and all of that. So it did cost me a lot more. I mean, like I said, I haven't done it in a long time. And when I take my dog to the vet, and I do his blood work yearly. So if I can do it for my dog, why can I not do it for myself? So once I purchased the lab test that I wanted, I scheduled it. I picked a location that is close to me, and I had to fast for like 8 to 12 hours before doing it. So I picked a time like first thing in the morning to do it, so that my fasting is essentially me just sleeping through the night. So on the day of the lab test, I went to a Quest Diagnostics near me, and they took my biometrics, which is my vitals, my height, my weight, my waist circumference, and then they also took my BP. That's when I found out my BP was like super, super high. And then she immediately like suggested you need to go see a doctor, a primary care doctor for your BP. And then after that, she took my blood and then took a urine sample. And then she told me it's going to be like a couple days to get the results. So at the meantime, while waiting for the results, I downloaded the Quest Health app. So just the moment the results hit, I could view it. And then I went on Amazon and purchased a blood pressure monitor, which surprisingly came the same day. So ever since, I've been tracking my blood pressure, which honestly have stayed consistently high. Now that I'm aware that my blood pressure is high, the symptoms that I was feeling before that I was attributing to other things, it was actually due to my blood pressure. So immediately I started to change my diet. Again, this is still while waiting for my lab work. I looked up what is the best diet for high blood pressure, and there's this diet called the DASH diet. Basically, it's just making sure that I'm eating things that is good for my blood pressure and not exacerbated even more. And I also like started green juicing. And then a couple of days after I took my lab test, the results came in, and they were actually trying to call me to discuss the results of my lab work. And I was already expecting certain things to be high, again, because of my weight and because of my medical history. I know they're already going to be high, which is my blood pressure, cholesterol, and sugar. What surprised me with the lab work is they were extremely high. So that concerned me a little bit. But there were certain areas that I was concerned about that might be an issue, like my thyroid. My thyroid came out normal. My hormones came out normal. I'm also low on vitamin D. So those are like kind of like the key issues that I have. My urine test came out of range, which I'm kind of concerned about. So when I gave the urine sample, I wasn't able to give a lot. So I was only able to fill like a fourth of the cup, which I don't know why. My bladder is usually like very full, but the one time that I have to take a urine test, it got shy and nothing, very little want to come out. So I don't know if it's because I need to be retested or they found something really, really terrible that they can't even test it. So someone from the lab did contact me immediately to discuss the results of my blood work. So they did recommend to see a primary care doctor, but they could also connect me to a virtual doctor or healthcare person to discuss the results with me and maybe able to prescribe me medication. And it's free of charge. Well, not free of charge, it's part of what I paid for. So they could go over the results with me more in depth than the agent that I was talking to, and they could like prescribe medication to me based on results. However, when I went online to schedule that appointment with a healthcare person, it just based on the questionnaires that I answered, I forgot what exactly the questions were. The results that I got in the end is based on my lab work and my answers. A telehealth person cannot address my issues, or they cannot prescribe medication to me just over the phone or over video call. It has to be a primary care doctor. Do I still want to talk to them? And I said, yeah, sure, maybe they could still answer questions that I have and figure out next steps. I have to switch recording on my phone because my camera got too hot. But I was saying, based on my lab work, a telehealth medical professional won't be able to discuss or make any prescriptions for me based on my results. So I do have to see a primary care doctor. And not gonna lie, the results of my lab work did make me a bit anxious. So I wanted to see a doctor as soon as possible. So I was able to schedule an appointment with a primary care doctor for tomorrow, which was exactly a week after I took my lab work. And honestly, I've been anxious every single day towards my doctor's appointment. I really wanted to come, and I'm glad it is tomorrow. But like for the past 2 or 3 days, I was really stressing about my blood pressure because each time I check it, it's very high, especially in the morning, and it will go down a little bit in the evening. And I've been experiencing headaches, nausea, numbness, tingling. Again, symptoms that I ignore or never bothered me in the past, but now I'm more aware of my condition. I am also very sensitive to every single thing that I feel. Back then, I would attribute the sinus, my eyesight, allergies, something, except for like my blood pressure, my cholesterol, my blood sugar. And I know it is because of those things compounded that I'm experiencing all of this symptoms and issues in my body. So I'm really excited to see the doctor tomorrow. Also kind of anxious because I really hope it's just a case of her having to see me in person, reviewing my lab work, and prescribing me medication. And it's not something that, a little bit more serious. And I'm also going to ask her about GLP-1s and how can I get on it if based on my condition and based on the medication that she might prescribe to me, would that work well with GLP-1s or could I just do GLP-1s? So we will see, and I'll give you updates after I see the doctor to see what they say and what medications I'll be on and if I could even go on GLP-1. It's been a couple days since my doctor's appointment. I wasn't able to film right after as promised, but Actually, it went really well. It went pretty good. It's how I expected it to go, thankfully. The doctor was really nice. She was non-judgmental. She was like very supportive, and she wasn't like making judgments of why I haven't, dealt with my health issues right away, or like why do I wait so long to do this or to go see a doctor and all of that. So I was kind of reassured with that, especially since, it's a new primary care, and I was nervous about that initially. And so she went over my lab work and diagnosed the big three that I was expecting: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So kind of scary, but at the same time, I am not that scared because I am being proactive about it. I'm doing something about it now. And as for the rest of my lab work, I do also have vitamin D deficiency. So we also are addressing that. But everything else look good. My thyroid is good. I don't have PCOS. And my kidney is fine, my liver is fine. So everything is in top shape except for the big three. And now I'm taking steps to correct that. And I don't know, I mentioned before going to the doctor's appointment, I wasn't really sure if I was going to bring up GLP-1s because I don't want her thinking, I don't know. I just, like I said, I was just afraid of being judged. And luckily she was non-judgmental. And actually she was the very first one who brought up GLPs. So the moment she kind of like studied my lab work completely and saw that I have type 2 diabetes, she was the one to bring up, let's get you on GLP-1. So I am on GLP-1. But aside from GLP-1, she also put me on medication for my high blood pressure, cholesterol, and for the diabetes. So I'm taking medication for those. Although she wasn't really that concerned about my vitamin D deficiency because she said, everyone in North America is vitamin D deficient. It's just like, where we are located. But since I brought up, I was like taking supplements for vitamin D the moment I found out that I was vitamin D insufficient. She was like, you know what, I'm just going to put you on the correct vitamin D regimen so that you get the vitamin D you actually need, because they're not going to get it from over-the-counter supplements. So that's what we're doing now. I have to take medication for my high blood pressure in the morning, for cholesterol at night, and for diabetes morning and night with a meal. And I'm doing the GLP-1s in the afternoon. I'm actually about to do it, and I can share you, I guess I'm going to share with you in this vlog how I do it. So the one that she put me on was Victoza, and it's something that I have to inject daily. I was actually very wary about injections. I brought up if I could possibly go Wegovy pill, but because of my type 2 diabetes, it's just best to do the injections. So she put me on Victoza. So my first week I'm doing 1.2 milligrams, and after that I'm doing 1.6 milligrams for the rest of the month, and we're gonna take it from there. So yeah, so I'm officially on a GLP-1 journey. I am excited about it, but of course going on a GLP-1 journey is not just about taking the medication or injecting myself with GLP-1. It is a complete lifestyle change. I could probably do a whole different video on that, but I've changed my diet. I've been moving a lot more. I still feel hunger. I still feel the desire to eat. I haven't like lost appetite, at least not yet. But when I do eat, I get full very easily. And sometimes like for lunch, I had to force myself to eat because I know I need to eat to get my calorie intake for the day, and also to make sure I eat enough protein and all the nutrients that I need to help mitigate the side effects of being on GLP-1 and the side effects of all the medications that I'm taking. And so here is where my rant is going to enter. And a lot of people who are against GLP-1 say that, oh, mark their words, in a few years you'll hear horror stories of people on GLP-1 and how it messed up their health real bad. And they are correct. I sincerely believe them, because the way GLP-1 is being peddled to the masses right now, it's more capitalism based than it is about people's health. The only way I was really going to do it at the end of the day is if a healthcare provider prescribed it to me, because going through like, I don't know if I mentioned them, one of them is actually getting sued by Wegovy because they created a compound GLP-1 pill that pretends to be Wegovy. Or if to an unsuspecting customer, they will think they're taking the Wegovy pill, but it is really not. And that's the thing too, if you don't do your research, one, they're not really giving you GLP-1, they're giving you compound GLP-1, which is not approved by FDA, and also microdosing GLP-1, which is also not approved by FDA on how to use or administer GLP-1. And some of them are not even actually giving you GLP-1, they're giving you a combination of medications for weight loss. Like they're gonna give you metformin, which is for diabetes, and they're gonna give you 2 medications that is for seizures. But if you are not diagnosed with seizures, if you're not diabetic, why are they making you take these medications? I don't think it's going to be good for your body to be taking medications that your body doesn't need. So yeah, a few years down the road, maybe even sooner, you would F up your health taking medications that you have no business taking. And also because of the accessibility of GLP-1s, of compounded GLPs and microdosing GLPs, a lot of people that I see online on it, especially influencers that have big platforms, are using it incorrectly. First, I don't know why they're on it. I mean, I don't know people's health, but you have to be on a certain weight and again have to be on a certain condition to be on GLP-1. Again, you can get diabetes at any size, at any age, but I know they're not diabetic or have any health issues. And second, I saw like an influencer who with a really big platform talking to another person who was on the same microdosing GLP say, oh, he drinks a lot of alcohol with it. That's what, and so he's not seeing any results. Three major side effects of GLP-1 is pancreatitis, kidney disease, thyroid cancer, plus issues with your gallbladder. So if you're not making the correct lifestyle change while you're on this medication, you're just increasing the chances of getting those side effects. So yeah, so when people who are against GLP-1 are saying you're fucking up your health in the long run by going on it, you definitely are if you're not making the correct lifestyle changes. Like even with the correct lifestyle changes, doesn't mean the risk go away, but making the lifestyle changes, not being on alcohol, going on a diet that's friendly to your kidney, to your pancreas, to your gallbladder. It's not just the amount of you eat, it's the quality of food that you also intake in your body, you know, putting in exercise and not having, and again, not drinking alcohol, being on drugs. All of those things are going to help to hopefully prevent you from getting those major side effects. So that's what I'm personally doing now that I'm on GLP-1 and all these medications for my health conditions. I am making significant lifestyle changes so I can get the benefits of these drugs and hopefully avoid the major side effects or even like the mild side effects of being on these drugs. Because again, GLP-1s is a great drug. It has helped a lot of people, but like any other drug out there, it has major side effects. So if people who are on it, or I'm just going to speak for myself, but if I'm not willing to make the lifestyle changes, this drug is just going to end up hurting me instead of helping me. So that's my rant on it, 2 cents on it. So I know people are still going to be judgy about GLP-1s in the comments or in their opinion in general. I personally, doing my research before I went on this GLP-1 journey, I can see how it's borderline a scam, not because of the drug, but because of the companies that are peddling it. They're really driven more by capitalism than they are about healthcare. I just really suggest the best way to do it, the only way to do it really, is to go through a healthcare provider, your primary care doctor. But if you're watching this video because you're considering it, you're thinking about it, I would really suggest go straight to a primary care doctor or a healthcare provider, a licensed, reputable one, to discuss the matter with you. And I would also suggest start with just doing your blood work. See the condition of your health through your blood work and then go from there. So just take the baby steps, blood work, see a primary care doctor, a healthcare provider, licensed, reputable, and then go from there. Don't go straight to the Instagram ad, answer a few online questions, and they say, oh, you're qualified for it, and then they'll prescribe you medication. They say they're going to let you meet with a healthcare provider virtually before sending it to you, but I don't know, I just find the whole thing sketchy, and some of them, you have to look at the fine print as mentioned, because some of them are not actually offering you GLP-1s. Some of them, the advertised price is not really the advertised price that you're going to pay. It's membership on top of it, and the cost of the GLP-1 is just during the first month or two. But if you're thinking about GLP, find out if it's right for you through a primary care doctor or a licensed healthcare provider, and go from there. So that's like my only suggestion. And if you're going to go on this medication, you also have to be willing to make the lifestyle changes, or else you're just really going to F up your health in the long run and it's not going to benefit you. It's just going to hurt you. But yeah, so welcome to my GLP-1 journey, and I hope you stick around for future videos to see my progress, to see like kind of like what the challenges are being on this. I just want to share this with other people who are on the same journey as me, and hopefully we'll be able to bounce off each other, be a support group for each other. And yeah, I'm really excited for what this would bring, especially for the entire year. So it would be nice to see a transformation from January and then fast forward to December. We will see. My goal, I didn't really say what is my goal weight is. I feel like I'm not going to be obsessive with a scale. Like if I lose weight, you would see it. I would see it on camera and, you know, when I look in the mirror. But if I want to put numbers there, I probably say my goal weight is 155 pounds. I think that's realistic for me because that number is my weight in high school. And even in high school, even though I was still considered big, I feel like that's a healthy weight for me to be in. Anything lower than that, I don't think I could achieve my weight when I'm younger than high school, like when I was 10 or 12. And the only other number that I'm watching is my waist circumference because that's important for my heart health. And currently my waist circumference is 45. I want to get it under 35. And I've done that before. I was able to go 35 the last time I lost 30 pounds. So I think for me that is achievable. But since I am trying to lose more weight than 30 pounds, I'm hoping to get under 35. So I'm thinking 30, 31. But again, at my smallest, when I was probably 12, my waistline was 31. So I'm not delusional that, at the end of this journey, I'm going to be 120 pounds with a 25-inch waist. So I have realistic goals, but ultimately it's not about the numbers for me. It's how I look and how I feel and what my blood work says. I want the end of my GLP-1 journey to be me not diabetic anymore, for me to have no high blood pressure and have no high cholesterol. So those are like more of the main goals than just reaching numbers on a scale or on a measuring tape. But yeah, so again, thank you for coming along my journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.